out of the realms of possibility.
OJ is on the Diva, in fact. So they're running a 2-2-2. Wuvo on the Pharah. He does like to play that hero too, Wuvo. He enjoys his Pharah. Winter enjoys his Pharah too.
Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing the Tracer from Dreamer, unfortunately. Would have been a sight to behold, the quad DPS out from Sydney Drop Bears, but it's looking okay already. Not sure where Dreamer's taken that huge chunk of damage from. Probably was Wuvo, I suppose. So good work being put in by both. The Pharos initially, that's a nice boot. Forces Dreamer out of position, but he'll get back behind the shield okay. Only to walk straight back into a couple of rockets. Wuvo himself has a few of those headed in his direction.
Both of these Pharos have to play very close to the walls, very safe at the moment, because there is the threat of the Ana and the Widow, as we see D-Field getting the better of Nyang already.
Yeah, and that is going to open up the skies as well, as D-Field's going to look to try and deal with Winter. The race does come across to Nyang though, so he'll probably have to return his attention to the counterpart Widowmaker. So far so good really for both sides. Obviously the res is there for Athletico where it's not for Sydney Drop Bears, but D-Field is doing that damage right now for his roster. It's the second pick out of this one, and Nyang still yet to really find anything, even despite having charged up more ultimate than D-Field has. He's had less impact. Well, finally does get a headshot onto Wuvo. Now maybe it's his time to shine.
The side of Athletico have done a very good job at containing Winter on this Pharah so far. He hasn't been able to get the resources from Fluoro to fly close enough to do the damage, and he hasn't been able to abuse those angles either. He's been constantly pressured by Quad J's Diva and the D-Field Widowmaker.
That point did of course go the way of Athletico early on in the piece. Wuvo with the Rocket Barrage now is potentially going to look to use that. Holt goes close to him, but he definitely avoids it. Down behind the cover once again. It's Winter now with the nano boost on top of him. Pushes forward, perhaps still looking for that Rocket Barrage, and he does invest it. Actually, no, it was Wuvo. Winter didn't have his build up, and he's just absolutely face tanked the whole Rocket Barrage. Wuvo gets the better of it there. And D-Field also starting to really find his rhythm with this Widowmaker. 2 headshots there in as many seconds, Nang and a Kraken to fall. Drop Bears finally have to give up on this fight.
Winter finally got sick. Oh, the headshot comes in, but it's just not charged enough. But as I was saying, Winter very aggressively pushes onto D-Field with the nano boost. He was sick of getting poked at by this Widowmaker, but he committed too far, and the peel was just good enough from Athletico to save D-Field, who goes around and turns the fight in their favor. Very well played from Athletico to help their boy out.
70% here for Athletico, so Sydney Drop Bears are going to have to get a bit of a wriggle on. D-Field drops low, but he'll back up fairly quickly. Once again, Winter looking to try and make some moves, using the Concussion Blast to get that horizontal movement in the air. It's a little bit difficult for him here. Great shot from D-Field, the second obviously that he connects in, again, as many seconds. It's really been doing so much damage, and Jesus Christ, another one. Fluoro as he tries to cross. Just gets absolutely demolished.
Tell you what, the old dog still has a few tricks. D-Field, this Widowmaker, he loves it. It's great to see him on with this hero. It's such an old stalwart of the Oceanic Overwatch scene, and he's really paying off on this Widowmaker.
Don't peek that corner. Do not peek that corner, Fluoro. Doesn't really matter at this point. Everyone's dying anyway. D-Field, of course, he hits the shot. And Shoyo's going to try and... I don't even know what he's trying to do there, because really, wishful thinking.
Very wishful thinking, and 100-0 on the first point. They never looked like they had a chance on the side of the Drop Bears there. They couldn't contain the D-Field Widow, and he was putting enough pressure on Winter to allow Wuvo to, take to the skies freely. Quad J was doing a good job as well on that Diva, may I add. I think that was kind of the advantage they had. He was able to shut down Winter and really control the skies, while the 2 DPS players were able to take full advantage of it.
So do we run Widowmaker here as well on Lighthouse?
I mean, if I'm D-Field, I'm just picking Widowmaker and just not swapping off.
You're forcing Widowmaker in my ranked game.
But
thanks, buddy.
He's a smarter man than I as he goes to the Tracer, and it's still a 3 DPS composition from the side of Athletico. Quad J swapped off the Diva onto the Sombra.
Don't mind a bit of the D-Field here with the Tracer. It's always been another hero in his pool. Quad J with Sombra has been not as impressive on Sombra as he was on May, as far as the flexes are concerned. And well,
right on cue.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's going to continue.
Yeah, I think they'll swap off now after seeing that 3-3 composition, and they've been pretty decent on 3-3 themselves, Athletico, so they won't mind this too much. D-Field back in Brick Prison. Not where you want to see the man.
No, Quad J's back in Diva Prison as well, although for Athletico, this might be a fairly reasonable composition to try and...
Oh, it's a massive anti-nade.
Does hit 3 players, and Goobs was one of them. Nothing to be done there for him. Dreamer cleans it up pretty cleanly.
Oh, Fluoro gets 3 boops as well, so he's going to get a lot of ult charge off that, up to 44, but that fight was won by a Kraken, getting that beautiful biotic grenade as they rotated in.
I feel like I've seen that before from Fluoro.
Yeah, he's actually quite a good Lucio when it comes to getting these environmental kills. He really outshines some of the other Lucios in the competition. He might not be known as the
with
best.
his boops?
Yeah, I think... I don't know.
Has he got good boobs, Smash?
Who? Oh yeah, of course, you just saw that. Got 3, you get another one. D-Field manages to dash back onto the edge.
I do like having a look at him, but Sydney Drop Bears are going to have another contest to deal with. Athletico back onto the point, but Dreamer knocks them straight off. No one goes off the map. Yes, he has. He's gotten Quad J. I thought he almost got the Moira there as well.
Fluoro with another boop. There we go.
He's throwing his boops everywhere.
He is. He's got no regard for the enemy. But we saw that fight again. This rotation was punished. D-Field was forced to dash back onto the map after getting knocked off, and they might want to try approach from a different angle here because they're investing so many resources to try get onto the point at the moment. It's not proving to be beneficial at all as Nyang finds Quad J and he farms up about 30% of an EMP off him.
Here we go again for Athletico, once more out from the same position and back straight onto the point. They lose a lot of HP. There's a self-destruct that they're going to have to avoid now, and D-Field can't quite do it. Unfortunate start to the fight for Athletico, but Sydney Drop Bears will be cheering as Fluoro again gets another boop. This time it's Wuvo off the edge, down barrier down, just to ensure everyone on Sydney Drop Bears is fairly safe.
Environmental kills are just coming thick and fast from the side of the Sydney Drop Bears. Athletico can't stay on the map, it seems. They rotate once, they get booped off. They rotate second time, they get primaled off. They didn't even get to play the game.
They did not. So one apiece here on Ilios. And
equally as dominant too, 100-0 on both sides so far. So
that one went a lot quicker, it felt like.
Yeah, it did feel like it went a lot quicker. I think the opening fight was just a lot quicker, but
yeah.
That's a bit of a tilter if you're on the side of Athletico. You want to be able to play the game, not play on the bottom of Ilios.
Play on the bottom of Ilios.
Yeah, it's
could have worked a bit better on that one, I reckon, Smash.
Probably.
It didn't quite stick.
They pay me to read out the ultimates, not make the lines up. That's your job.
I think I'm paid to read out the ultimates. You're the one that's actually supposed to say the smart things.
Ah, we're working on that. Anyway, we see D-Field back on the Widowmaker. The DPS composition favoured for Athletico. Drop Bears on the 3-2-1 with Nyang Sombra. He's played a lot of that this week so far. So far we see them looking to swap out. I think they'll swap out this Reinhardt. He is quite weak against these DPS compositions, quite immobile.
Yeah.
Now he goes to the Winston. But this will mean that they'll be in a good position, Athletico, to get the first point capture. And we've seen so far nobody's recaptured the point.
D-Field's in a good position to play Widowmaker as well. Ruins is one of the best maps actually for the Widow.
It certainly is, and as we see the initiation come in, it's a lot of damage going a lot of places.
Particularly coming out of Wuvo's rocket launcher as he gets the shot on a Dreamer that will finish him off. It's both the main tanks down now, but the D-Mech for Shoyo. It was actually Sydney Drop Bears that got the first cap, by the way, which is a little strange, given that they were the one that swapped their composition. But Kraken hits some nice shots onto Wuvo, but unfortunately with the Ana, there's only so much you can do. Rocket Barrage through won't collect the whole lot. Wuvo just spins around in the air trying to find anyone that he can actually shoot at. Winter goes flying after being bashed by Passo. But all in this meanwhile, the percentage is ticking on up for Sydney Drop Bears.
Yeah, it looks like it won't be for much longer though. They're finally getting control of this point, Athletico. They're just getting the stagger kills, but Winter stayed alive on this Brigitte for so long. And after removing the tanks early on the side of the Sydney Drop Bears...
Oh, he's got the nano boost as well. He's going to push on forward with that. I don't know that it's going to be enough to keep him alive. As the rest of Sydney Drop Bears fall, it means Winter doesn't really have the backup that he needs. He's going to go down too. D-Field used to have gotten, again, that rhythm flowing with the Widowmaker.
I think the main reason there that they were able to stall out for so long is despite the two tanks going down, once that happens, Shoyo and Dreamer go down, you think, okay, D-Field's going to have a beautiful time here. He's going to have no one contesting him. But Fluoro actually manages to find a 1v1 kill versus him, and that really threw a spanner in the works, because there was no sight pressure then.
Where does the next pick come from? observers have had a pretty rough run trying to get the Widowmaker highlights today, so I think we're going to be specking D-Field for the rest of Ruins here, just to make sure we don't miss anything.
There is EMP on both sides, and it looks like the better one comes out from Nyang.
It's going to be a good start to the fight for Sydney Drop Bears, but D-Field, he's found two, Kraken and Yang down. He's also still alive, but very low on HP, eventually does get caught by Dreamer. It's Passo on the point that we're watching right now, and he doesn't have much long for this world. As once again, another player falls to Dreamer. It was Goobs. Sydney Drop Bears flip it back at 52%. Athletico didn't quite catch up.
But they've reset all 6 ultimates now on the side of Athletico. This is a risky maneuver. They need to get a good fight off where Sydney Drop Bears spend some ults and Athletico take the fight long enough to build some of their own. This is quite a big risk in the fact for the side of Athletico as D-Field gets put to sleep, so that's going to delay them a little bit longer. Don't want this to get into last fight territories. A big biotic grenade for the Kraken too. They're struggling to get in here.
There's a huge biotic grenade, in fact. Athletico still kind of suffering as a result, trying to build their health pools back on up, but all the poke coming through from Sydney Drop Bears, it's not so easy. Jojo smacking Passo in the head. You can hear those dink-dink-dink coming across, and that's always a good feeling as the Diva, he charges forward onto Wubo and running right into Oceania. Maybe not what you'd exactly want as a Diva player, but he does have self-destruct available, which allows the re-mech, so no harm done for Sydney Drop Bears, and it looks like they might be the ones to clean up Ilios in a 2-1. Passo won't even be able to get there because he was cancelled with a leap by the EMP.
And we saw
Drop Bears win.
A good start to the fight when they take out the Sydney Drop Bears member, but they just didn't have the ultimates to back it up. The Sydney Drop Bears were able to turn the fight with their ultimates, and because Athletico did swap all 6 of their heroes, they weren't able to build any ultimates up in time, and that's a really unfortunate way to finish that map for them.
It was looking so good for Athletico when they started off on Ilios, but not quite the case toward the end of things. Sydney Drop Bears just kind of got it together. It was just when D-Field stopped having as much impact on the Widowmaker that there seemed to be a lot more room for Sydney Drop Bears to work with. Legacy's going to be watching this match and sort of licking their lips a little bit, saying, come on, Athletico, lose this series, and if we beat you, then there's a good chance we might be the team through to playoffs. Yeah,
they certainly will be licking their lips, and they'll be thanking Fluoro, actually. I think he won this point almost single-handedly, this Lighthouse point, and it was a dangerous point too, because we've seen Widow work on Lighthouse before with Addy popping off on it.
I don't know how these Lucios do it, man. I try to hit boops and people they don't even move, man.
Oh, they just don't have the skill to do it,
Do I have to press my right-click button even harder?
So, yeah, it's the harder you press the button, the further they go. That is true. That's happening.
The more I learn. Obviously, Smash rather one of the best Lucios in Australia.
When you're contained to the floor, yes. When you try and get on the walls, not quite.
At least he likes to think, maybe you dream about it. Do you ever dream about playing Lucio and being able to wall ride?
No.
Wall riding all around?
It's way too difficult for me, mate. Way too difficult.
That's why we're here on the caster desk.
It certainly is.
It is indeed. All right, well, Volskaya is going to be coming next, Smash. What are we thinking about heading to the second map?
Thinking snipers. We've seen a lot of snipers on Volskaya recently. We've seen a lot of Orisa, a lot of Hog comps too, and I don't think anything will be different here. Usually, the defensive team likes to play that 3-2-1 comp with the Ana, the Sombra, the Winston, but I don't know so much anymore. Teams have been playing these odd compositions this week, so anything could happen. I'd favour the Drop Bears, I guess, in a comp v comp matchup. I know a Kraken's Roadhog has been quite good. He's played it a lot on Paris, maps like Paris, so...
Well, Kraken's definitely a player we should touch on because he was a player we highlighted last week and said, okay, for Sydney Drop Bears, if they're going to turn this season around, Kraken's going to kind of have to come back to form. He was a former World Cup player, or I guess technically still is because there isn't a new World Cup team just yet. But for a Kraken, today he certainly seems to have already started off pretty nicely. A couple of good Bionades coming through from the Ana, which is what we were sort of looking for last week. And while Sydney Drop Bears did get a good win last week against Mavericks, it didn't really feel like it was a Kraken that was going absolutely bananas, so to speak. But today, he's looked better.
He's certainly been looking a lot better today. He's nailed those nades on rotations. Maybe Quad J's been a bit of a sleep at the wheel on that Diva, but still got to land those nades in the right position, and he has done that so far. He's also had a few nice sleep darts come out, so good to see him starting well early.
Not sure that the Diva mech actually has a wheel, by the way.
No, it has joysticks, doesn't it? Yeah.
Sleep at the joysticks, maybe.
I wouldn't want to fall asleep. You don't sleep when you're driving. Don't drive tired. It's horrible.
Wise
You shouldn't
words
be
from
flying.
Smash Brother.
You shouldn't be flying tired either.
Has to drive all the way to and from WA to come to the Overwatch Contenders studios. So
I actually should have driven across now because that car of mine is bloody expensive to ship over.
it is. Time to buy a new one, probably.
Thought about it. Winter, doing a bit of a jig on the Jay Silly.
Jay Silly.
That's what he's called. Junkrat, Jay Silly. As we do see a bunker-based composition from Athletico on the defense. Uvo on the Roadhog, D-Field on the Ashe instead of the Widowmaker, and Quad J on the May. So it is a bit of an adaptation. It looks more like a Clockwork Valley. What's that team?
Clockwork Vendetta.
That's the one in EU. They've popularized this composition with a Torbjorn instead of a May, though.
It's a pretty cool name, I think.
I think they've done well, yeah. And they are dominating EU contenders, in fact.
Well, Yang. Boy, that's a really cheeky angle. I mean, you're going to be impressed if you hit a shot through there.
You have to be a bit lucky for someone to just wander through that gap. Sydney Drop Bears have chosen to go out in a composition themselves. So Kraken was on the Roadhog briefly, but has chosen to go on the Ana instead. Winter on the Pharah is the chosen spam hero.
D-Field is going to have his hands full dealing with those flyers, but doesn't really have an angle, actually, that he can do much damage to Winter, which is resulting in Winter charging this rocket barrage so damn quickly.
This is a really nice angle as Paso's shield goes down and leaves him vulnerable, and he goes down early.
Fortify through there from Dreamer to keep him alive through the whole hook combo. Wuvo has to take a breather as well, backing away for but a moment. It's D-Field. Once again, it doesn't seem that it needs to be the Widowmaker. The Ashe as well, just as good of a sniper. He takes down 2 with headshots, but Winter, the rocket barrage, the aforementioned rocket barrage is going to result in 2 frags. A couple of quick ones go back the way of Athletico, not to mention a Resurrect as well, but the numbers are certainly there for Sydney Drop Bears. Seem to have kept out point A with no real problems.
Yeah, we saw as soon as that Orisa goes down on the side of Athletico, it opens the point up for the Sydney Drop Bears. They're able to take the advantage on the point, and despite the May wall blocking a lot of damage, it doesn't do enough. Can't break through the enemy Orisa shield without the damage of the Orisa, so the Drop Bears take an easy point A after just using the barrage. This means they have a lot of ultimates going into point B. They have the Widowmaker ultimate, means they know exactly where D-Field's going to be coming from, exactly where Quad J is going to be coming from, and can set up Dreamer.
Yeah, still looking for these headshots. The Supercharger to go down, courtesy of Dreamer, boosting the damage potential of Sydney Drop Bears, and it's worked out nicely. Winter finding Wuvo. Transcendence will be forced out from Googs as well, which slows down the play for Sydney Drop Bears, but now is the time for them to strike with a Dragon Strike. Shoyo collects Paso. The Wizard down on the point from Athletico has slowed it up just a little bit.
The big hook comes in, but Wuvo can't finish the kill off. Now the Rocket Barrage comes in, and that should clean up this point. Winter's been on fire on this Pharah.
Waiting for the big Mercy Res. Where's the 5-man Mercy Res? Oh wait, it doesn't work anymore. Design, you can't hide.
But D-Field's popping off. He gets the bob out, and he gets 2 kills.
And then he bumps his head on the roof. Unfortunately, can't bounce on up as far as he wanted to. Now he has been spotted by Sydney Drop Bears. He's going to start to suffer some losses if Winter hits a shot, which he almost does too late. By the way, down very low on HP, but still he's healed on back up, and that is going to be a punish for perhaps the mistake of Athletico not finishing Winter off there. He finds a few more kills. It's been a long time coming for Sydney Drop Bears, but they do camp out for Sky second.
Oh boy, I thought D-Field might have turned that fight there with those 2 kills and the bob on point. Kraken on the money with the sleep dart though, puts the bob to sleep. Probably saves Nyang there, who got pulled in front of the Orisa shield. But if he got that kill on Winter, who knows? He could have saved the point. That's probably asking a little bit too much from D-Field. He needs his teammates to step up here. Quad J on the May hasn't been super effective, and Paso's been picked off one too many times on that Orisa.
4 minutes and 51 seconds.
That is a good time for Volskaya too. You'll be very happy with that time. I think anything over 3 minutes on Volskaya you'll be happy with. We've seen it be a hard point to attack twice. The defending team, defending the second time around, had a really good time of it.
Learning from their mistakes, perhaps.
Yeah, no, most likely. Do learn it as they go. Athletico now on the attack. We'll have to see what they can pull out.
D-Field wants the Widow again. No surprises there.
Don't blame him either. He's been instrumental in that. When they've found success, D-Field has found success on the Widowmaker. Sydney Drop Bears going for that comp I mentioned earlier with the Sombra, the Ana, and the Winston. Very versatile composition, and they're able to rotate these ultimates. You know, the Nano Boost is probably the first one to come up, or maybe the Primal Rage, and then they can alternate between that, the Graviton Surge to build ultimates. It's very, very simple to execute, really.
EMP as well. That sometimes can just be a free team fight win.
Certainly can, but with that Bionade as well, disabling all the abilities, all the reasons to get rid of the Bionade.
Sounds so easy when you put it that way, Smash. Is Sydney Drop Bears going to be able to execute it as well as you would be able to, I wonder. Yeah.
Well,
Translocating out, 13% up for him. No.
Wuvo's actually been put to sleep by a Kraken, so that will delay things a little bit cheeky, but showing Wuvo that he's still got it. As Wuvo decides to go back to spawn, he doesn't want any of that. He's already been put to sleep once.
Field's going to start looking for some picks. Shoyo not too keen on that idea, puts the bubble on and starts some right clicks in D-Field's direction, but still Sydney Drop Bears are going to have to give up on the high ground, which gives Wuvo a bit more room to work with here. And who really can deal with Wuvo at this point, outside maybe of Dreamer? Yang actually gets the hack on. That's going to be a major asset, and oh dearie me. That's pretty much the only way that Wuvo's going to die. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happens. A Kraken with the Bionade will finish him off. Starts to get in there with his team as well, but has to get the heck out of the danger situation. Take back the high ground.
Yang going for the hero play there, gets the hack in midair. Very hard to hit the Sombra in midair, actually. Very tiny hitbox, and I think that trade's worth it, to be honest. Yang gets back so fast.
Doesn't mean that he's not really charging the EMP up too quickly. He's about 20% behind Quad J, but that is going to help. D-Field drops early, and so does Goobs, which, well, really for Athletico, there's no point in continuing this attempt.
And I've talked previously about this, but the Zarya getting high energy versus these DPS compositions is so beneficial for the side of the Sydney Drop Bears. It means that she can 1v1 these DPS heroes, she can spam out, and if any time this Pharah or Mercy gets too close to the ground, they're a very easy kill target for that left click.
Shoyo is just in the wars at the moment, isn't he? He's getting everything thrown at him, but still manages to come out fairly unscathed. The dive in from Dreamer, it's going to put a lot of the Athletico players low. They'll inevitably finished off by his teammates. Shoyo, Winter, both picking one up. Also
Yang,
building up on both sides.
Yeah, but Yang's been finding these manual hacks on Wuvo pretty consistently so far. I think he might have hit another one there to drop him out of the sky and take him out early before the fight. So something's got to give here for the side of Athletico. They're going to protect Wuvo, or maybe Wuvo needs to swap off here.
Minute 50. Athletico, they're not against the wall just yet, but it's starting to creep up on them. 2 or 3 fights is all that they are really going to have left, and they're going to be some tough fights indeed. You talked about the ult rotations for Sydney Drop Bears. Well, they haven't really needed to do that just yet, so they have a lot to play with.
No, but I think you'll start to see them come out now. The EMP comes out, Wuvo drops to the deck, and he's down.
It's a late EMP as well from Quad J, but does peg back one kill. If there can be another one here for Athletico, might be able to see something pretty interesting. Primal Rage is not an option. It's going to have to be the Nano Boost onto Shoyo instead of the Winston. That might actually work out pretty nicely. He's putting some big damage down. Winter also gets D-Field, but these 1-for-1 trades looking a little more favourable for Athletico, you would say, than for Sydney Drop Bears, but with that one, it's time for Athletico to just back out once more. 52 seconds now, and that was a very long, prolonged fight. So now, may well be in one-fight territory.
Yeah, between a Kraken and Yang, they've really had Wuvo's number here. They can't. He's not letting them in at all. He hasn't been able to get many shots off on this Pharah. He hasn't been able to get in a position to follow up with the barrage when the EMP came out. So now it's all on this Passo ultimate.
Dreamer's going to throw the Primal Rage in pretty early, and Yang gets Goobs, and it does appear that the Rocket Barrage has not done a whole lot. Wuvo still will be able to get some value, however, getting the kill onto a Kraken. Shoyo was not able to get his Graviton Surge thrown in the mix. Is it going to be a
Fluoro's still alive here with the sound barrier. If he can get it onto Dreamer, there's a recontest in this. It looks like they've just given up.
Yeah, it seems like it. It's perhaps the smarter play.
It's definitely
the more high percentage, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Going into this second phase, going into the second point, they will have the ultimates to defend here. D-Field and Design have their ultimates, but they're not high-impact ultimates. The EMP from Quad J is going to be the key to this fight. If he can strip the sound barrier off Fluoro, then could be in for a even fight.
From D-Field gets the pick on Fluoro, who's sort of dancing around. Needs to be a little careful. Oh, Kraken playing with fire.
He can see through the walls, but he can't shoot through them. But Wuvo's found a Kraken at the moment. this evens things up.
Joyo's going to use his Graviton Surge early to try and slow things down for Sydney Drop Bears. The sound barrier down really late. And even then, the EMP was available for Quad J, so it hasn't done anything at all. Sydney Drop Bears, this last fight has looked very messy indeed. Nyang is going to come back in with an EMP, but I'm not sure how much that's going to really salvage here for the Drop Bears. It's Rocket Barrage from Wuvo to put the nail in the coffin. It will fall, and Fluro can't even get there in time. That was crazy.
The Drop Bears will certainly want that fight back. They just got picked apart. Once the Kraken went down, Shoyu tried to throw out the Graviton Surge to counter the fight. He caught Quad J, but he just didn't have the follow-up damage there to get the kill. So Quad J is able to get that EMP out straight after Fluro uses that sound barrier, and that kind of seals the deal.
Just didn't really seem like they were on the same page.
No, and
Shoyo wanted to fight, a couple of others maybe wanted to slow down, stall.
And the way they positioned and the amount of space that the side of Athletico got meant that D-Field was just at the back sitting like a turret, dishing out damage, and he was able to find kill after kill. Time bank, 3 minutes versus 4 minutes 51. You still have to put money on Sydney Drop Bears here, but anything can happen, as we saw in our previous series, where the 1 minute time bank won.
It's a bit disappointing for Sydney Drop Bears. They were kind of getting close to actually holding this map. And then all of a sudden Athletico finishes with over 3 minutes left. Yeah, there is a big advantage with the time bank, a minute 50 or so, but as you've alluded to, maybe that 1 minute 50 is not going to be as impactful as we think it could be.
Yeah, they had that slight chance to really contest with the sound barrier and the Winston as well in the overtime fight, but they chose not to take it. They chose to go to the second point. It's punished for them for that choice, but it looks like they're back on this composition that they played very well on before, the Sombra, Ana, Winston composition, but it doesn't look like they're going to choose DPS on the side of Athletico. It looks like they're going to go for a standard 3-3 or...
Paso got hacked, which is going to mean there's a lot more damage going through from Sydney Drop Bears, no shield. And when I say that, I mean like there's not actually that much damage that's gone through. So Sydney Drop Bears doing a good job of allowing Dreamer to build the Primal Rage. With an early kill on the D field, it probably means that this fight doesn't even need the Primal Rage. So the going gets even tougher for Athletico coming into the next.
That was another fight set up by a Kraken anti-nade. He's been on point today. He gets D-field, and that means the Winston Tesla cannon goes through the shield for the Brigitte, and he's able to get taken down pretty quickly. And now we see the ult rotation come through. Dreamer has the Primal Rage. We saw what Quats was doing yesterday on this map with that Primal, and if he can replicate that, it's going to be very difficult for Athletico.
Yeah, former Sydney Drop Bears main tank, of course, and now the current Sydney Drop Bears main tank, who can do it better. It's going to be hard to beat Quats, that's for sure, but Dreamer might well be able to. EMP's there for Nyang as well, so what do they want to invest first?
Looks like they're waiting, they're biding their time, waiting for someone to get caught out, and it's the Design that gets picked off.
Yeah, Winter starting the fight off nicely for Sydney Drop Bears. No Primal Rage invested. I really like this from Sydney Drop Bears. We'll talk about it in a second. They still have to finish the fight off. Dreamer actually does drop, hasn't used the Primal Rage, and I think Paso got an Earth Shatter in there in the meanwhile, which is sort of puts Sydney Drop Bears in a really awkward position. It means Shoyo now has to Graviton Surge. Is the damage even available to follow up through it? It doesn't look like it. And all of a sudden, this fight has turned on its head.
The greed of saving ultimates has punished Sydney Drop Bears. They tried to just use the EMP, but they just needed the Primal Rage. They didn't get enough kills off the EMP to solidify the fight, and Sydney Drop Bears were able to... Oh, sorry, the Athletico were able to just stay together and out-heal the damage pretty much. And
I thought it was actually looking like for Sydney Drop Bears they were going to be able to hold on to all of the ultimates, but Athletico just clean up a few and turns right back on its head, so you're probably right, a bit greedy. Can't blame Sydney Drop Bears though, I was on their same page.
They're spewing onto the point now. They've managed to get in there, but Goobs has been taken out early, and this is going to be a rough fight for the side of Athletico now that we see the Primal Rage come out of Dreamer.
It is indeed, slapping them all over the place. Gets 3 kills. Quad J, Paso, and D-Field all fall to the Raging Monkey. Dreamer now elects to swap off to the Reinhardt. That's about as good as it's going to get as a main tank. You get to use your ultimate, you get a few kills, and you get to swap off. No complaints there from Dreamer, I'm sure.
Last fight situation too, and Yang with that EMP is going to be the key man. If he can shut down these heroes before they use their ultimates, if he can get the hack onto Quad J, the hack onto Wuvo, even Design, it will stop them right in their tracks. Winter in a nice little position there.
How did you get up there? charged up perhaps with the shield. Well, Yang with an EMP here. It's going to be a self-destruct to start the fight for Athletico. Try to buy some space. Hasn't really done a whole lot. Sydney Drop Bears now locked up by a Graviton Surge. When does the EMP come here from Yang?
So Shadow got slept, and now the EMP comes out, and Dreamer's taking full advantage of it. As that shield drops, so does his team.
Felt like such a long time waiting for that EMP, but when it finally did come, it was a good one. And Sydney Drop Bears have no problems holding point B of Volskaya.
Yeah, Quad J using his bomb offensively there to get in. I think that's a big mistake. If they track the ultimates well, they know they have the EMP, and we've seen Adam from Order use that bomb defensively very well to stop aggression when the enemy teams use the EMP. I think Quad J needed to be holding on for that reason just then, but he doesn't, and his team gets punished for it. Well played by a Kraken too to hit the sleep on Paso to cancel the shatter. It's these clutch moments. You see these veteran players from the Sydney Drop Bears standing up, and when the pressure's on, they're responding well, but they still have a mountain to climb in front of them.
It's not a huge mountain though. 4 minutes 51, plenty of time.
Maybe I just made a mountain out of a molehill.
Maybe you did. Sounds like you're a bit of a mole diver. Smash.
Certainly not.
Nonetheless, Sydney Drop Bears will be, at this point, going into this current overtime, just feeling a little bit more comfortable now that they've held that point B fully. All it takes is one tick on point B. You would think with the, about 4 minutes and 51 seconds on the clock, you'd have more than enough time to cap point A. That should almost be a given. Then it's down to the hard work on point B.
Yeah, but I think they'll be confident here. Athletico is showing the same composition they played on the defense 1 previously, and that got picked apart by that Winter Farah, finding that nice angle above where D-Field is standing right now. But Winter's running out on a Junkrat. Bit of J Silly. Dreamer and Yang swap their heroes up to the Orisa and the Widowmaker, so finally we see Winter swap off J Silly. That's good.
Crucial seconds being wasted, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for something that wasn't there, though. Maybe a scouting Sombra or just anything poking their head out trying to get some information. We saw last series, the team without the Roadhog with this Orisa comp struggled a lot. Sydney Drop Bears don't have that hog, they have the Shoyo Hanzo instead. How are they going to make this work?
Some picks from Yang, perhaps from Winter, if he can build the rocket barrage up quickly. D-Field, need to be careful. Paso and Wuvo, they're perhaps a little overextended here. The concussion blast is going to do them no favors, yet D-Field is the one to initiate the fight, favoring Athletico now. However, with the revive for Shoyo, we're back to 6v6.
Oh, Winter's asleep in the backline, and D-Field's just going to finish him off execution style. That's horrible. But we've seen Winter get into these positions before on these flanks and make it work, so I don't blame him for going for it. But he had a beautiful position directly above the Roadhog and the Orisa. I think he was out of suck range too, as Wuvo cleans up a few kills there. So the ultimates are charging up with the side of Sydney Drop Bears, but how are they going to use them?
I suppose Rocket Barrage is going to be the one you really look to.
When you look for that Rocket Barrage, you look for a Nano Boost or an EMP to couple with it, but there isn't anything there. The Kraken only 53% on this Nano Boost. He's not getting enough healing done on these tanks.
Nano Boost does build pretty quickly, so if this next fight lasts for a little while, it's going to come up surely for a Kraken
Winter
in
gets
the
plucked out
meanwhile.
of this guy.
Well, that's not how you make a fight last for a while.
Yeah, the problem is with these 3 DPS compositions too, the Ana isn't getting enough healing. You know, she's not pumping heals into a tank. Yang takes out D-Field. That could be an opening.
Revive. So
Fun
it's going
ruin.
to back up.
Yang takes out Quad J. No revive for that one.
No revive indeed. He's got a very nice angle here. Paso's not in a great spot at all. Goobs from downtown. It's a great sleep, and now Niang is on the floor, but is it going to help? Oh no, he's 5 HP. How has he lived? Grenade comes through just a little bit too late. Niang, he's done the damage. He's bought the time here. Design tries to get a revive and gets punished for it. Off goes D-Field.
It's not where you want to be if you're a Widowmaker on the edge of the map. On the edge of the map versus Farah. As the Sydney Drop Bears managed to get in, but they do have the Nano Barrage now going on to their second point. But there are answers on the side of Athletico. They're going to have the May ult coming up, and the Widowmaker can kill you through that Nano Boost if she gets the headshots.
2.5 minutes, so a bit of time to play with for Sydney Drop Bears, but at the very least they have assured themselves a draw on Volskaya, which will mean an advantage going into half-time. Always a good feeling.
Certainly is, and We've seen Wuvo step up on this hog, but that hasn't been enough yet. How are the Sydney Drop Bears going to approach this? They look like they're trying to get multiple angles. The Dreamer goes flying.
Where's he going? He's going to the moon. Wants to go visit Winston. Horizon Lunar Colony. That's where we sent Sandman as well. So we don't have to deal with him anymore. None of that shenanigans. Well, shenanigans indeed for Athletico as the Superchargers been put down on the site, but Sydney Drop Bears are not interested.
No, but Nyang's interested in taking Quad J's head off once more, and the EMP comes out. The barrage comes out, sorry, and that's going to be a lot of damage coming through, but they've managed to hold it off on the side of Athletico.
Shoyo certainly helped out Winter there with the defense matrix, but it was not enough to allow the Rocket Barrage to continue to do its work, which was really kind of the punch that Sydney Drop Bears needed to get through point B. Winter's doing a good job, however, of building it up once again, and I do wonder if Athletico will be prepared for this if he drops down low in just a second and has that Rocket Barrage right in their faces.
Yeah, we've seen D-Field swap off the Widow onto the Diva, and now he's trying to punish this pharmacy, but he's not getting the shots
Barrage
in.
available, just needs to drop on low. Goobs might be the target. That Sleep Dart's certainly very scary. Winter decides better of it. Sometimes you don't want to use that Rocket Barrage. Have you being a sitting duck. Now is time for the investment, and the umbrella goes up, but it is still not enough to dissuade all of that damage from being thrown in by Winter. He gets the D-Mech. Wuvo will drop as well, and that is indeed looking to be the punch through that Sydney Drop Bears looked for. And it won't be a 1-0, it will be a 2-0 now for Sydney Drop Bears. So they finished off Volskaya. Took a little bit of work, but job done in the end.
We've seen two close maps now. We've seen Ilios go 2-1. We've seen Volskaya go to overtime. So it's a close series, but Sydney Drop Bears, the experience just edging out Athletico so far. So Athletico need to step it up in the second half to get back those wins.
Yeah, they do indeed. Athletico, you look to players like D-Field having such a great performance on the Widowmaker. Even still, he's continuing to have an impact, but it's just not quite enough. Maybe they need someone else to step up here.
Yeah, they certainly do, and I mean, Wuvo's been playing the Roadhog okay, but I just haven't felt the impact with the Quad J made this series. They haven't been playing the 3-3 composition on the side of the Sydney Drop Bears, so the value of May, the May stonks, they drop pretty quickly when you don't verse the tanks. So maybe they need to rethink that hero pick.
What about Passo, who we've talked quite a lot about since the start of the season? He came in, and when they beat Order, we were thinking, great, this is looking fantastic for Athletico. And Passo seemed to be one of the stars with good performances time and time again on the main tank role. Haven't really talked about him at all today. That's a worrying sign.
He's been a bit quiet on the Orisa. It is a different hero, a different style of hero. I mean, when they were playing with the Mei before and they were playing the 3-3 composition, Passo had a lot of room to be aggressive. But on the Orisa, you're not really an aggressive type hero. You're not pushing the barriers. You're not, getting the kills yourself. You're kind of enabling your team, and that's kind of where Athletico have been struggled. They haven't had that key man Passo in the moment to really take advantage of those tank duels.
Well, you can't really make the plays, can you? Like you can with the Earth Shatter and a Primal Rage. So that may be where things are starting to fall apart a little bit for Athletico. Certainly a lot of thinking to be done here at the halftime break. Going down 2-0. Bet this wasn't a situation you were in too often, Smash. Normally you would have been up 2-0, but what has to happen here for Sydney Drop Bears, and more particularly, what has to happen for Athletico?
Atletico just need to hold their nerve, really. They need to realise that these maps have been close and they've been in the game, so they can come back and take this. We've seen them have good map 3s and 4s. I think versus the Warriors, they had a good map 3 and 4, and I think they can, if they can find that form again, they can take these maps off the Sydney Drop Bears. But that being said, the Drop Bears are looking a lot stronger than they have in the previous weeks.
They certainly have been ramping up into this season. Well, we're going to ramp up into a break. Time for us to head to two more maps at the very least to come.